Lars is gone. He's going pro. Can Dallas get him?
I don't think so. Ready?
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Joe Biden breaks his foot. We'll talk NFL. A whole lot more coming up with today's Wade and Carter Show.
Rule number 1, no touching of the hair or face.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you,
That's
sir.
a little hot.
I like it like that.
How are you?
I like it. I like hearing the ringing in my ears. We are back.
We are back.
Cheating death. Back from I'm like Lazarus. We're back from the grave. Back from the cave, man.
All right.
How much of it?
Let's do this.
Okay. One thing you can count on, whether we're here or not, Deerland Feed is where they belong. Over 50 years down there doing what they do. Fantastic spot.
Touchless service for me.
Yeah.
I needed a load of hay. Had the COVID. Couldn't go anywhere.
Sums up your relationship at home.
Called up Lacey.
Did the touchless service from Cheryl.
Yeah, and
you decorated my life, Cheryl.
Islands in the stream.
The touchless service. Folks, it's 45 degrees, the dead of winter, the epitome of a winter wonderland as we prepare for Christmas on a Cyber Monday. 45 heading to a high of only 55. It's going to be blustery.
Freeze warning in effect.
Somewhere. Calgary, Alberta.
Tonight.
Good morning, Canada. We're back. Stylish new rig that you people can't see, but it gives us a little more room. Gives you more of a full body look at me and my, what did you call it?
Puffy vest.
This is my, I'm more androgynous, right? Like I'm not necessarily just flamingly gay, but I'm androgynous. Like I've kind of got a don't ask, don't tell. Is he? I don't know. You know?
No, I don't think you have that vibe at all.
Okay, good. Appreciate that.
Stephen Kidder, first one in. Good morning. Monica Jost is in. Let's see who else.
I've missed Stephen Kidder. I've missed the banner. There's Matt Boucher.
Matt Boucher's first one.
Oh, Matt Boucher wanted to remind you should have covered your plants.
No, tonight you need to cover them.
No, it's not going to be that cold tonight.
28 tonight. You just said that.
No. It was 28 last night.
No, it wasn't. It was 44 this morning when I woke up.
I'm telling you, you missed the dead of winter. Tomorrow, it's only 52 degrees is the low tomorrow.
No, there's a freeze warning in effect. I'm gonna pull up the National Weather Service.
You better pull it up. You better pull it up.
Freeze warning in effect from midnight tonight till 8 o'clock Tuesday. Temperatures in 29 to 32.
My deal's wrong.
Weather rock.
Blame it on Deerland Feed. They didn't give us much of a budget.
I'm blaming it on them.
You hear, Lacey? You hear what's going on over here? We've got inferior equipment.
Your lackey phone.
But our rig is legit.
I think so.
You get the full view. You get the full view.
Chris Conrad, good morning. Justin Glass, Marvin Mickish, Ryan Hopping says it's about freaking time. Judge Posey, good morning. Hope all is well. H.R. Mallory, Bobby Leister, Rena Scherer.
Hi, Rena. Good morning, Judge. Thank you.
Scott Snow, Jeremy Pena, Patrick Strauss, 337 YouTubers. We only lost one, I think, after
Which
2
is
weeks
not
off.
bad.
No.
I mean, considering that we put out no product, I'm surprised we didn't gain a couple.
Mike, although our YouTube kept sending me notifications that the Wade and Carter Show was
live or coming
on. So, I mean, it was running reruns, so that's not so bad. Mike Blosky, good morning. Catherine Imes, Christina Wise.
I saw Mike Blosky last night.
C.W. Bean, Monica Jost, Natalie Mayer.
He made ribs, sausage.
Did he?
Oh, he's a great cook.
There's Brent Anderson, Sheriff Louderback.
Hello, Sheriff Louderback.
Karen Webb, good morning. So we were out. We had the COVID.
You know T-Lat's listening.
Yeah.
Hi, T-Lat.
Morning, Cheryl.
She ain't listening.
Not yet. She's not up yet.
Cheryl of Sunnybrook Farms.
She's already at work, so. Um,
I'm kind of afraid of Cheryl. I'm not like I can kind of push the envelope a little bit with her. Like I can tell T-Lat jokes. T-Lat just goes, "Oh, Brent." With Cheryl, I don't know, man. Like she could.
She doesn't waste any time. She doesn't. A, she won't give you the look. B, she won't. Oh, Brent. Yeah, she'll just straight
Throat
left jab.
punch. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Like you walk up and hey, Cheryl. Hey, Brent.
Heather Monroe. Good morning up in TO.
That's how you know she's Canadian because it's Monroe. They're very simple people. Munro. Monroe.
Lorena Bargenbrook. Rob Moore Knipling. Missy Man Klemacek. Mr. Hartman. Good morning to you, Jim.
Hello, Mr. Hartman, sir. Jennifer had a birthday. We don't talk about birthdays here on the show. We would never do that.
No, never.
And if we were going to do it, how like, what would you call it? What do you call it when you just kind of, how patronizing would it be to mention Jennifer Hartman's birthday, her 53rd, to mention that when the Hartmans are our banner sponsor? I mean, it would be so shallow.
Yeah,
anybody would see through that we were just sucking up to the boss. So we would never say, Miss Jennifer, I hope you had a wonderful birthday, sweetheart. You haven't aged a bit. We would never do that, but it's true.
Chris Conrad gives us an idea. Says, hey, you guys claim all of the viewers that we lost on YouTube were COVID related. We could be eligible for government assistance.
There's a legit point there.
So, dispel. I was tired for about 4 days, like where I had no energy, slept 15, 16 hours a day, and I still don't have my taste or smell back. That's what I've suffered over the last 2 weeks.
I never lost. I've eaten some of your cooking, though. It's really, I mean, the Lord works in mysterious ways. But I'll tell you that T-Lat blew in with a double positive. And I'm not violating HIPAA. She's my bride. But she still doesn't have taste or smell. Okay, I never lost I didn't test. I just knew I had it. I mean,
But you were more tired than probably T-Lat or me.
I was worn out.
You were worn out
I have to admit it was a real deal where I could get up and walk out front. I had to take some paperwork downtown. I drove downtown, put it in a mailbox, got back in the car and drove home. And by the time I got home, I told Dawn, like I was a little disoriented. Like I was worn out just from driving downtown.
Yeah.
So the COVID deal is very real.
Yeah, no, it is. And we never downplayed that. But I'm still not.
The effects are what they are. You know, it's like, hey, I mean, back to work.
The weird thing about this is it's affecting everybody differently. Like,
it's a customizable disease.
It kind of is. Dawn says her resting heart rate's still high. Missy Man Klemacek says taste and smell can be gone for 8 weeks. I know somebody who had their taste and smell gone for 10 weeks. I tell you what, it sucked. Not eating eating Thanksgiving dinner and no flavors.
Dawn's so competitive. She'll be like, yeah, so what? I did 12 weeks. The other day, she's got that Apple Watch, and, we're sitting there, and it starts going, I'm like, what is that? She's like, oh, my heart rate got a little high.
See, my resting pulse rate was always in the 80s. It was good. 79, 80 usually. I didn't have those issues. But for about 4 days there, I couldn't, sitting up was a chore. No fever, never had a fever. So I don't know. Weird.
So somebody had said they'd asked me, they said, I thought Ash smoked. I said, Ash doesn't smoke. They said, well, I thought he used to smoke. I said, no,
never.
Only secondary smoke in a bar.
Yeah.
So like, 2 packs a day. Just secondary smoke. I used to have a theory that if you walked into a back, of course, when I first moved to Dallas.
I look back at pictures of us as like
you go ahead. Ones. Our timing's not going to be that good.
I'm just saying, everybody in the picture's got a cigarette.
Right. I love the picture of Jackie Kennedy, like 8 months pregnant, just working a Gert. Exactly. She didn't care. Gert and a martini. But we used to think that if you walked into a bar.
Wasn't fetal alcohol syndrome then.
No.
That kid's a little off.
John's just a little different than the other boys. But when you walked into a bar, if you think about it, the nicotine that you're getting secondhand without smoking could provide that calming effect to the point that you subconsciously go there to get the nicotine.
I don't think so.
No.
I think the nicotine is ingested as you inhale.
I don't know.
But boy, there's nothing worse than you go to some place that still allows you to smoke in a bar, and you go out like if you're on vacation, and you go out
like
for the night.
Mission Valley.
Yeah.
You don't have to go that far,
Maybe.
people. You go over to Jackson County
Maybe.
and sit at a Mexican food place and just get all the secondhand you want.
But you have a couple drinks, you get home, the next morning you go pick your clothes up off the floor, and it's just the worst smell
It's
ever.
the worst.
Yeah. Jackie Broom Deerlam, good morning, ma'am.
All them Deerlams are coming
I'll
in.
be stopping by Deerlam Feed later.
Folks.
But they were nice. They were good to me. I was giving them a nice shout out and plug, but I called them up, explained my situation, said, hey, I got COVID, but I need some hay. They
Did
said,
you touch the service?
yeah, I paid over the phone, backed it in. They loaded my truck, and never had to expose anybody to the virus. So
There you go. How are your cows?
good. Put some silence on them so they're fly free.
Very nice.
We got 3.6 inches at the
Did
2
you
foot.
really?
Yeah, it was just basically Friday, Saturday. So we needed the rain, and it's soaking right up. Grass is already turning green. So lots of rain in the area over the weekend, which was much needed. I think Matt Boucher's in. We're probably still down. I bet you we're still down 12 inches or so.
Should we get Matt Boucher to come on the show soon? I want to talk to Matt Boucher about, and this is not 2-4 stuff, but like at my house, like my mulch and stuff, over the seasons, it'll start to get that white kind of fungus on the mulch. I think this year I'm gonna take out all the vinca. I'm not gonna have the sympathetic returning vinca. I'm gonna rip it all out, trim my hedges back, and then I'm gonna rake all that mulch out. But what I don't want to do is when I expose that soil, I don't want 9,000 of those 3-leaf nutgrass plants to come up. So I need to talk to Matt Boucher about what type of pre-emergent napalm that I can put on that won't kill my.
Can't you just spray like an anti-fungus on that mulch and it'll kill it, and then you don't even have to do all that work?
Maybe. But don't forget, I've got free labor. I've got Caden and Ryan.
Oh, that's true.
They only do labor when they're in trouble, but it's just instant. I can just find trouble for them instantly.
Well,
pick that sock up.
Well, and here's the thing: they're at the age where they don't do it the way you want it done. So
Right.
then you got to go behind them. And
That's
do it.
true. And sometimes it takes longer to do it the second time.
But you're teaching them good things.
Matt Boucher is still under rainfall by about 10 inches. Man,
Yeah. Not good.
not good.
So
Who's that right above it there?
Kelly Fromme says
Yeah.
really green
By the
grass
way,
might suffer a frost. I think
3 things people should know. We still owe Callie Fromme a Wayne Carter tumbler. It is on order. We still owe a different but similar tumbler to Torrin Bales. And Torrin Bales has reached out to me no less than 4 times going, hey, I need to get a check to Warriors Weekend. So it's basically the kink in the hose is me. But we'll get it done. And we're excited to do it. I can't wait for the new tumblers to come in. So we've got things going on, great things, super duper things. The president's still upset about the election. Don't know where that's heading.
he was on Fox yesterday. I didn't watch it. I was actually watching Green Bay destroy the Bears.
Don't Bears.
Which jumps into the Cowboys. Boy, are they a mess. I think Fox flashed a graphic on Thanksgiving Day that they're the 6th best offense in the NFL, and they're still 3-8 now.
Yeah, they're terrible. We haven't gone 8-8. It's impossible.
No, I never had them at 8-8. You did.
If they go 3-13, then we're back to the pre-Aitman era.
We might get Trevor Lawrence.
Tell you what, he came back, so
I don't know if the Jets are still in the running.
But why is that? Why? There's 2 things about the NFL that actually I want to fix.
We've got to fix that. And the Texans, I tell you what, Romeo Crennel, who this is a guy that's had about 8 times to try to be a head coach. He's got the Texans playing pretty good football. And for however he fixed the offensive line, 2 wins in a row for the Texans. Deshaun Watson now has time to throw, and he looks like the Deshaun Watson that we all thought
he could be. Well, you know what it is? They got rid of that troublemaker, that rabble-rouser, DeAndre Hopkins. Devontae,
Oh
DeAndre.
boy, man! If they had him the last 2
Oh,
weeks,
they'd be dominating.
they would. I mean, he wouldn't have fixed the problems under Bill O'Brien because that team was just dysfunctional under Bill O'Brien. But
So let me throw
Rogan's
this.
got this team going the right way.
Tell me what you think about this. I'm not being sarcastic here. You go back through the years and the just jump in your mind. Steve Young sat on the bench, toiled behind, learned from Joe Montana.
Well, and don't forget he played a few years with the LA Express and
Okay.
the USFL.
Follow the story. Aaron Rodgers.
But wasn't Young like 30 before he ever
Yeah.
got the starting job?
Yeah, before he became one of the 5 or 6 best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah.
Then Aaron Rodgers played 4 seasons behind Brett Favre. Tom Brady would still be sitting behind Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe had he not gotten hurt.
Wally Pipp.
So here's what happens. You come out and you get jammed in with the terrible Jets. Or, I mean, you can go back to the Jets. Boomer Esiason, at least he started out in Cincinnati and took over from
Kenny Anderson.
Kenny Anderson. The great
Kenny
NFL
Anderson might be the best
quarterbacks.
quarterback not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Because Fran Tarkenton is him. But you go back and these guys that get thrown into the mix, although the Burrow kid is doing really well in Cleveland. No, Cincinnati.
Well, he was until didn't he?
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, didn't he destroy his knee in about 1 million places?
But as you watch these young guys, it makes no sense to me to take a kid like Trevor Lawrence and jam him into the Jets or Detroit or the Cleveland Browns, places that historically suck, or Dallas. Why stick them in there? Why do that and ruin their careers? That's one thought. So I don't know what they're going to do. You had – well, let's take a break. And Ash has a really good idea about solving the quarterback problem.
BJ's asking about new audio equipment. It did arrive. Maybe we didn't fix the problem.
I think we did fix the problem. I hope it sounds good to y'all. If it doesn't, let us know. We spent dozens of dollars. You want to spend your money right. You got a towing problem, you call Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen will get you where you need to go. It's just that simple. You got a big rig on the side of the road, overturned truck, a Suburban down in the river bottom. He's got a 75-ton crane. You can leave your Aunt Ethel in the back seat and pull her and the Suburban out. Bethel got back. Pull her right out. No problem. The VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all taking COVID precautions, all there to serve you. If you need surveillance, surround sound. If you don't have a surveillance system in this crazy era, you need to reach out and have cameras installed and a monitored alarm system from. You have not fixed the audio. We just gave up asking.
I don't know if that.
I don't know, folks. I don't know. We sound great here. We sound great on our feed. I don't know what we're going to have to get with Magic at some point to solve the problem. Cheswick Furniture Company, 100 years in downtown Victoria. 116 West Juan Lynn, the corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. Bobby Leon and his family are there to serve you and yours. Cheswick and Love make your house a home, and you just do better at Cheswick. We sound great here. I just don't.
I don't know either.
Now, Natalie Meyer says it sounds clear.
Yeah.
Bob Constantine says, good morning. Bob,
No,
can you hear us okay?
I just kind of checked it. Yeah, it was going through, so I don't know. I don't know what the problem is.
We just don't know, people.
New equipment didn't fix it.
Today's a great day to get back to Veracruz. Queso, guacamole. They sent over a care package while we were home. Unbelievable. I'm the only guy in America who gained 5 pounds on COVID. Veracruz was fantastic. They still have. I just get that hot sauce by the quart. That's something you can do for your family. When you go in and eat, go eat lunch today and say, give me a side of hot sauce on the way out.
And take some chips.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is.
The problem is you won't make it home.
No,
You'll go
eat
back
them
to the
all.
office and sit there and eat them all.
Then you might get home, and then you'll have to go back and get another order.
So if you saw over the weekend, Denver Broncos had 3 quarterbacks go down. That was the 2 on the roster and the kid from the practice squad, all hurt or sick, whatever, unavailable to perform. And they had to bring up a backup practice squad wide receiver who played like some Pop Warner quarterback. Did his best, but it was like the Keystone Cops. And you and I driving in this morning, basically, so CWB, Mr. Negative, if someone calls, I'm sure we won't hear the caller.
You won't.
Welcome back, CW. Why don't you give us a call, 575-9509.
So everybody can hear.
See if we hear the caller.
But we solved the problem to the tune of about $16 million.
$500,000 a team.
Split amongst all the teams. 32 teams,
sure.
Right?
I made that up. Maybe I think it's 32. Wow.
I thought you sounded better than you did the other day when we were chatting. But
my glands are still inflamed.
So every team sends the NFL $500,000. They pay 16 quarterbacks $100,000, $125,000 a year.
These are guys that maybe were the last ones cut from NFL teams. These are the guys these are the feel-good stories. He started out at the Wade and Carter quarterback camp, and the next thing you know, he's playing for the Broncos.
But I don't know that they need 32 quarterbacks at this thing.
No, you need maybe 8, 10.
And they could. So maybe they don't need $500,000 each.
Okay, $250,000 each. Now that's $6 million. We pay each one of them $150,000 for times 8. That's 1.2. We got $4.8 million left.
So they could team up with IMG, get into their facility down in Florida.
We rent
that from them. The NFL holds scouting camps there and stuff already, so it's being used almost in that way.
There's a facility available at a nominal rate.
They hire
these guys.
Yeah, they hire maybe a coordinator of the program, and then you can bring in all 32 quarterback coaches in the league over time in the off season,
right? And
then maybe you bring somebody in during the season to sit there and work with them for the 6 months that the season's going on. But then if something happens, they can sign a 1-week contract. They're on a plane out of Miami to Denver.
And they get the league minimum for the year. They get their $500,000. There's their ticket. Plus, coaches could interview them. You could have people there from the NFL to monitor their character. So this is a good kid. He goes back and studies film at night.
They could feed them. They could house them.
Make them better than they've ever been. All they would do, their job would be to get up in the morning and become a better quarterback. I tell you, I've been around several Dalton Stern, local product. I guarantee you he would have taken that deal right out of college. Hey, man, let me just go work on my craft. I'm only going to work on playing football. I don't have to actually play. It's not. I'm just gonna work.
Yeah.
And then next year you go through the combine again or whatever.
Well, yeah,
give them a legitimate shot.
But they could. But then somebody could. The NFL could send their scouts down there and say, "Hey, this kid looks really good." The next year they could sign him.
Sure.
Right, and that would be the thing. You couldn't go down there and pilfer the best ones out of that camp that year.
But
they would be strictly for emergency quarterbacks, so that Denver wouldn't be in this situation where they're plugging in a guy who hadn't played any quarterback since college, is what the story was, right? And the Saints went easy on Denver, only beat them 31-3.
They did. They didn't blitz a lot. They didn't do a lot.
There were a couple looked like I saw at least 2 interceptions that could have been made, and they decided, yeah, we're not going to do that. One was a little tougher, but still probably would have been made.
Yeah, the one on the sideline.
Yeah, we slid to his knees, and
yes, absolutely.
But that catch is being made 99 out of 100 times, unless you're playing Denver with their 5th-string quarterback. But the NFL and the Cowboys were almost to this. They were pretty much at this stage. They had nobody behind Gilbert, right?
No, who was in the middle? You're right. Gary Gilbert is the backup now, but who was the other guy? Dudelinski or something. What was his name?
I don't know.
Houdini.
But there was nobody when Gilbert had to play that week. They really had nobody.
Right.
So I'm saying, then you fly this guy in for a week. He becomes the emergency backup. Chris Conrad says, like the NHL's better than the NHL. They're not pulling a Zamboni driver.
Don't they just pull him out of the stands?
Well, no, they actually have a goalie in every arena ready to go.
The NHL is more like Make-A-Wish. How can that even be unbiased? You're saying there's just like a reserve goalie there. He'll play for either team. Come on, man. What kind of effort are you going to get out of that guy? What if he's a Flames fan?
Well, and
you don't think he's looking at the standings?
The guy was a Leafs fan. He drove the Zamboni for the Leafs, and he goes in and he shuts out the Leafs for two periods. So, I mean, it worked out pretty well. Good little story. But it's that was a better ending than the Broncos getting their butts handed to them 31-3 with a fifth-string quarterback who really had no business playing quarterback in the CFL, let alone the NFL.
The Wildcat in the NFL on a Sunday, and oh, by the way, in their second series, they tried some play action and then a reverse. I'm like, look, dude, you need to get back there, snap the ball, and run it up the middle. That's what you've got.
Well, they don't have a running game. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If they would have been the Tennessee Titans, they could have just handed off to Derrick Henry all game, and he would have been fine.
Well, you said he was dominant.
3 touchdowns in the first half, and then they kind of put on cruise control and rolled over Indianapolis.
Those of you who don't remember, Derrick Henry is the 37-year-old man who played for Nick Saban 2 seasons ago. Went to high school with Tony Dorsett.
Yeah, he spent a lifetime in playing semi-pro ball in Yugoslavia before going to Alabama.
I watched
how about A&M? You got to give A&M props.
Hey, props to A&M.
They manhandle LSU.
Yeah, they did.
LSU's biggest problem, they don't have a starting quarterback. It's apparent.
Two freshmen, both good athletes. The Finley kid he's like 6'6", 250.
Yeah, he's big.
He's like Vince Young without all that talent. He's not burdened with all that talent.
Not yet. But boy, didn't Ogeron lit him up when he threw that pick six before he even got to the sideline. He met him halfway on the field, and next thing you know, Johnson's back in.
And then he went, "Go Tigers." Hit him on the hat and said, "Go Tigers." Judge Posey says Longhorns need an emergency coach. I'll tell you,
a couple of coaching changes in the NFL. Detroit, after Thursday's debacle against the Texans, clean house. They got rid of the head coach and the GM.
Cowboys
yesterday, Jaguars got rid of the head coach. Cowboys won't get rid of McCarthy. He's only been there 10 games, 11 now.
Yeah, but he's terrible.
But
they're down there on their own 25-yard line, 4th and 10, and try to fake a punt. Who does that? At the time,
you know what though? If the receiver on that near sideline makes his block, they might have got it.
Ifs and buts. They got fruitcake. Let me tell you, they were down like 4. It was like 20.
Yeah, there was 16. No need. There was 12
minutes left.
That was a desperate play that didn't need to be made at that time.
The Longhorns just look like they're playing a step slower.
I'll be honest, 20-10, I turned it off.
Yeah.
They're up. Iowa State missed the field. Did they try the field goal at the end of the half?
They made one, didn't they?
No, they didn't. I think they missed because it would have been a touchdown, and I think it stayed at 10 at the half.
Okay.
And I could not hold it on. I had to go take a leak, so I missed that field goal at the end of the half. But anyway, they were taking too long to get it done.
Well, they're not good, but I did watch
20-10, and I'm like, this one's over, and Longhorns end up losing 23-20, and then a lot of people pinning the blame on a kicker. That was a heck of a long kick.
Yeah, 57 yards.
On a windy day, and he had the length, and it just at the end missed.
He's been nails. He is not a bad kicker. I'll tell you that I watched the Aggie game, and I know I'm tempering every comment, realizing that I'm going to get a call later from JP Hull. It is enough to just say the Aggies looked great. They beat LSU, and they were the number 5 team in the country, and this week they may even be in the top 4. There's another way to look at it and say LSU is clearly in a rebuilding mode, and of the players that I watched, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, even though Kellen Mond was serviceable, he's the worst quarterback of the top 5 teams.
Yeah.
And that's the only fair way to look at it. They're no threat to
Alabama, Clemson.
Yeah, they're just not.
Ohio State.
Right.
I don't know who number 4 is.
OU. I mean, who is number 4?
I don't know.
I got a lot of chirp on Twitter. Tell me what you think about this, and I'd love to hear from you folks as well. I have a problem. Like I've always felt like as a Longhorn, which I'm an alum, I'm the first guy to, hey, go Texas, go Texas. If we're playing Texas A&M, I don't ever do a down thumb like Aggies or losers. I don't ever do that. I'd rather be pro my school than anti yours. And that's coming from an alum. Now realize that the University of Texas has, pick a number, 100, more than that. I was going to say 100 T-shirt fans for every student or alumni. I have a problem with those people that choose to represent my school going, oh, A&M sucks, man. You know, you don't have a dog in that fight, then just shut up. I mean,
remember when that was boo, though?
Be pro Texas.
Everybody got one of those back in the day.
But the problem now is anybody who beats Texas, which lately has been way too many, they feel like it's okay just to throw that horns down. You know, Texas sucks. I don't need to hear that from Iowa State. Iowa State had a nice win the other day. They're a lifetime, like 465 program. They're way under 500. They've never won a conference championship. And they beat Oklahoma earlier in the year, which is a for sure sign that Oklahoma is going to clown stomp them in the conference championship game. I mean, write it down. Oklahoma may beat them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. They scored 3 more points than a dead man the other day.
Notre Dame's the other team in the top 5.
There you go, Notre Dame. They're always overrated. They scored 3 more points than a dead team the other day and beat Texas 23-20. And they're all like, yeah, Texas, y'all are living in the past. You're nobody. Oh, okay, there's some truth to that.
There's a team, though, that has made its living the last few years being overrated.
Oh, they're unbelievably terrible. Although, you know, it's interesting.
Because they're a perennial top 10 every preseason poll.
Oh, well, because based on talent, they are. So why are they not winning? Coaching. Here's the problem. Tom Herman has played in 3 bowl games and won 3 bowl games, and he hadn't had a losing record yet. It's kind of hard to can a guy. You know, he's a lot like Donald Trump. There's things about his personality that make you say, if it wasn't for how he is, he'd be really good at what he does.
And he's still not playing with all of his recruits yet.
Right. He's not a fan favorite.
How much is all the social warrior justice stuff dividing that team in Austin?
I believe they're all on the same page. I really do.
Okay.
I think that the student leadership, I was going to say Colt McCoy, Sam Ellinger, and Herman, to his credit, Herman did a lot to empathize and try to pull that team together. They took a team suggested and immediately coach supported march together, which was, of course, without incident. And they marched from, it's not 5 blocks from the main building down to the Capitol.
Chris Conrad says Texas is terrible. They take the best recruits in the country and turn out a solidly mediocre product.
It's so true. I mean, I've always wondered how a program like Oklahoma, for example, for years would take this unheard of 3-star from Choctaw Ridge, and the next thing you know, it's Billy Sims. Billy Sims obviously was highly recruited by everybody, but it's
wasn't he a Texas guy?
BJ Nelson wants to talk politics.
Wasn't Billy Sims out of Tyler?
No, that was Earl Campbell.
Oh, no.
Billy Sims was out of Hooks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hooks, Texas.
Oklahoma.
Eric Dickerson was out of Sealy.
The Bob Stoops era, OU has managed to grab quarterbacks that nobody else thought were going to be much. And
so here we are. We're back on the air. We're going to take another break. We might as well start it off because she's the one trying to drive the program over here. BJ Nelson, how about some
program
politics?
director.
How about Razor IT Solutions? 550. No, Not Raise Right Solutions.
White Trash Services.
White Trash Services. 55. Sorry, folks.
COVID moment.
550-1826.
I'm gonna milk this for 6 months.
I truly wondered if I was going to remember all the phone numbers, but that's an easy one. 550-1826.
It's the names that always get you.
White Trash Services. Reach out in the 6-county region, including Holiday Beach and Rockport, and let BJ Nelson and her team of great people.
It's all right. He called me the other day and asked for Jim.
Right. Voices on the air. Reach out and talk to them. They are great folks at White Trash Services. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hall and his team. I want to talk to him about the algorithms and how the stuff that we're getting. I mentioned to a friend yesterday that I don't trust anything from any media source these days.
It's getting hard.
And I believe that chaos is the playground of the deep state. The people that want to actually, you wake up one day and they go, oh, I'm sorry, your plan's to Canada? No, we've sealed that border. You can't leave the country.
Well, Qantas said you're not flying on one of their planes unless you have proof of vaccine.
There you go. Now we're going to have forced vaccinations, and we're going to have, you've got to, we'll talk politics in a minute, but be aware that a guy like JP Hull can help you understand how the media and big tech, as they call it now, big tech with Facebook and Twitter and all that, how they drive it. MySpace. What else are you on over there? Match.com. You'd be on matchless.com. Touchless.com. Folks, today, Monday, tender brisket plate with 2 sides for $9.99 at Uncle Butt's Barbecue.
It's the last November special of the month.
Get by there. It just simply doesn't get any better.
No, not at all.
And
Penny has not for dealerships.
Oh, since 1926, Victoria's dealer. Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, they've got them all. Gently pre-owned vehicles. Paint and body shop that's the best in the region.
The Mazdas, those little SUVs they have, the crossovers.
Absolutely.
They're nice looking inside. Whew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they do a great job. Mazda's styling. You pointed this out 2 years ago. I remember it. Their styling has come a long way.
And now even inside, Napa leather. I mean, they're doing it right.
The little Japanese that could. There's Pat McDonald. Good morning, Pat McDonald.
Bob Constantine says, politics or communism?
Tell you what, it's coming. You see where you're president. Your guy. The guy you're all about now, because you Canadians, once we make a decision as a country, you're all in behind them. Trudeau and Biden, those are your guys.
Yeah.
Broke his foot. Tell him about that.
Playing with his dog. The rescue dog. I don't know all the details because some were blaming the dogs. This is the guy we want on the world stage leading the world.
Come here, Fluffy. Oh, broke my foot. I'll bet you money that dog ain't white. That dog ain't white.
German Shepherd's a nice one.
Yeah, you know it ain't
or maybe
white.
A Belgian Malinois. I'm not sure what it is. But no, it's a nice looking dog. I mean, but here, and this gets me to the point.
That's how you look at the picture.
Yeah.
I got the Parvo.
I mean, you want to talk collusion? I was getting there, Matt, but yeah. I mean, he breaks a foot playing with a dog. One slip as he's evading fire in Yugoslavia when he lands by helicopter and the hip's gone.
And then he'll have that neck brace on like Ted Kennedy. Because that nothing says I care like a neck brace.
No, nothing.
I tried to save her.
I remember the Brady Bunch kind of made fun of that. Remember when Carol got in an accident backing out of the parking lot? The guy shows up and Mike Brady drops a stack of books in the courtroom and the guy snaps his neck around to prove that he didn't have a neck injury. That was a clear shot at Ted Kennedy.
Teddy.
Yeah, for sure.
You see him at the funeral. He's like,
but the media, they were railing Maria. What's the one who did the interview with President Trump over the weekend on Fox, because it was softball questions, and I didn't think it was, from the little bit that I saw, it wasn't the hardest questions in the world. But
they were helping him get his word.
That's
out.
kind of what he was trying to do. They were trying to do. But how do you criticize Fox in an interview with the president when CBS runs a story over the weekend talking about how the Bidens have adopted a cat now?
Right.
I mean, you want to talk about softballs.
The White House cat. That's the newest deal.
Yeah. I mean, get ready for 4 years of no coverage of anything, folks.
No.
I mean,
Going to put 2 of them in the White House.
I mean, there's unconfirmed and unsubstantiated reports that 5 U.S. soldiers and a contractor died in Germany. Either, and this is where the confusion sits, either trying to get the servers from Dominion software or
So they're protecting those with firepower.
Or died protecting them. I don't know which way it went.
Right. Look at BJ throwing out some more content. Yeah. She says it's Newsmax. Let's don't watch.
But and then you had Israel presumably assassinate
the top
nuclear guy in Iran. They didn't wait for him to get somewhere else. If you don't think this is a clear message to the U.S. that you're not going to enable Iran under Joe Biden,
I love it,
to ramp up their nuclear program.
Nuclear, if you're a George W. Bush fan. We've said this here 1,000 times. Once the Jews really get irritated, things are going to get interesting. They don't mess around, man. When it's like, oh, really? Oh, y'all think that was a big deal that y'all killed that Soleimani guy out there in the middle of the desert? How do I get that name right? Y'all killed that Soleimani guy out in the middle of the desert?
Soleimani.
Whatever. That ain't no big deal. We'll just go right into Iran and kill this guy right here.
Yeah.
Top scientist.
Strafed his car full of bullets and then blew up a truck.
Yeah.
in Tehran, I think, right? Wasn't that?
So what if you're the number 2 nuclear scientist?
I think you're probably resigning and asking for political immunity or asylum somewhere. Yeah. But if that's not a clear message that Israel is not happy, and who is the Secretary of State now? Is it John Kerry? Is that who we're talking about now? Or no, he's a climate czar. He's a climate czar. I don't know.
Like John Kerry, such an idiot. How did that guy linger around for 50 years in Washington? Seriously, people. Seriously, stop and think about it. And if you're a Democrat and you think John Kerry can relate to you, you're lost as a goose.
Says the guy who owns what? A half dozen houses, 1 billion automobiles, and a couple private jets.
Well, don't forget he married for money twice. He married the lady that's the heir to the Heinz fortune. I'm talking Heinz 57 ketchup.
And don't forget, his kid and Hunter Biden all involved in getting $1.5 billion from China.
They're all crack buddies together. Unbelievable, the corruption at all levels of the government. And that's why, to the Main Street liberal and conservative, maybe that's why you don't hear anything out of John Cornyn. People don't want their apple cart upturned. Nobody knows what really goes on behind closed doors. Sorry. Nobody knows what's really going on in Washington. And those that do don't want the truth coming out.
No.
And to his credit, whether you like him or not, and at least half the country does, Donald Trump was not an insider. He wasn't Republican enough for the Republicans because Donald Trump was a Democrat all of his life. He even said in like a mid-'80s interview, if I ever ran for office, I'd run as a Republican because you can tell them anything.
Actually, that was debunked as not true. But
I think he probably did.
That was the left trying to.
You know, when you're rich, you just grab them.
Yeah.
He did say that, right?
In context.
Right.
Didn't say he did. He just said when you're rich, they let you.
Sure. But a man like that can't joke.
No. But if you really think about it,
why would you watch 60 Minutes last night when you can listen to us on Monday morning? I mean, come on.
But if you really think about what he said, was there anything? Was it not true? If you look back to not Epstein, the other dude, Harvey Weinstein. If you look back to that, right?
Sure.
Basically, that's what he was doing. I mean, that was the behavior that Donald Trump said you could get away with if you were rich and famous. And Harvey Weinstein showed that was the case.
Did he die yet? Or
No, not yet. He's faking everything.
He's fatting in prison.
I mean, think about it. He showed up to court in a walker. He's claimed he's had the COVID, and the guy's still living.
He thinks he's going to get out.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. T-Lat and I spend a lot of time watching these series. So, like right now, we're watching Shameless. You remind me a lot of William H. Macy. And we're also watching. Have you ever seen that series? It's ridiculously funny. We're also
Loved him in the cooler though.
he is. Oh, did you? I need to watch that. I've seen it. It's available. I've also watched The Crown, and you know they talk about Prince Andrew, the one that's in so much flap over the Epstein deal, and this was made before the flap.
Well, I
And-
remember.
but in their documentary style, as they introduce you to these characters, they mention him and the old kind of blue soft porn star Koo Stark, who was only like 17 years old. She made this movie, and Andrew was dating her.
Yeah.
And in The Crown, he talks about, I like younger women, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the guy, you know, so now he's been officially relieved of all of his duties.
You know what's interesting? If you look back, everybody back in the that was around 80, 81, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody knew she was under the age of 18. And in fact, might have been 16 when they started dating.
Yeah.
You go on now, you can't find any reference to her age. She's always 18 when they started.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
They've scrubbed it all.
Power of the Crown. Yeah, they move it around. So with the power of Went Services, reach out real quickly and know that Went Services, Went Electrical, they can bring the power to you. Solar panels, corporate deals still going on. Check it out. It's a free gig. Give Carl Went a call. Call Went Services, Went Electrical. Let them come out. They'll give you an estimate of what it'll cost to put the solar panels on your roof. Between the tax deductions and the straight up rebates and the depreciation, the thing will pay for itself in like 3 years.
And if you don't like solar, they can do wind power too. They've got a windmill right outside of Went's office. You can check it out, see how it works.
If you're going to be there if you build a building and know that you're going to be there for more than 3 years, it makes just solid financial sense to have them come out and give you an estimate. The Gray Barn, we joke about it. Cheryl's getting ready. This is getting ramped up. There's going to be a Wade and Carter Christmas party. It may not happen until next May, but we're going to call it a Christmas party. If it's delayed, we'll blame it on COVID.
Christmas in July.
But we're going to have a get-together. Some of you will be receiving requests for addresses. Some will not. It's just the way it is. But we're going to try to host our sponsors, and it's tough, people, because Christmas, there's only 4 weekends in December, and everybody has parties on every one of the. We may have to do it one evening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we got time. We'll figure it out.
But the Gray Barn is going to do the decorating and show off some of the capabilities.
All the capabilities. Let's be honest.
They're all coming out. We're pulling all the stops.
I'll stay far away from it.
The housewares, reach out to them, because right now is a great time to get rid of those old moldy curtains that you got from Grandma with the dog pee on the bottom.
And the secondhand smoke still in them.
No, they're
From
kind
the
of
70s.
They can't decide if they're drapes or shears, and they're just kind of homey looking.
They were shears. Now they're just dingy yellow.
Just throw in some new. They have mini blinds, plantation shutters, and they will give you a free estimate. Just give them a call. Budget blinds. They also have tremendous. If you're going to ship something, if you want to ship something to a soldier, if you want to ship something across to Grandma, they have the UPS store as well, right there on North of Arrow.
2 of them.
Yeah, there's also one down on South of Arrow, down by Detar. Reach out to those folks. And then USA Concrete Coatings, Charlie Garcia, 578 Home. He'll come out, clean up, fill the cracks, put down a nice polyurethane, antimicrobial, antibacterial.
He'll give you the Houston, Texas special.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. 578 Home. That's
Check out their gallery on Facebook.
Yeah, go to
nothing
Facebook.
else. This will show you what we're trying to explain to you.
Look at USA Concrete Coatings. Yeah. Don't leave right now. You're watching the show.
Wait till after 8:01 go.
Yeah.
But you look at the before and after photos. Phenomenal work that they do.
I just look at this, and I don't. We're very, very proud of our sponsors, and by the way, all of whom said, "Hey, get well. We ain't going anywhere. Get well. Let's make this thing work."
No, I tell you what, I really appreciate everybody that reached out and
for sure,
asked how we were doing and called and messaged and texted, and Just, I mean,
It was great.
Really, yeah, really, And then, of course, you're feeling better. Well, then why aren't you doing a show?
Right. Yeah, you get that as well. But the truth is, it kind of, you feel like we're kind of all in this together. It's that kind of deal where I don't feel bad. I never did feel bad. I just didn't feel good for any length of time.
But I had a cold and was tired.
Our ads go by quick. I listen to other radio stations sometimes, and when I'm driving on the road, we'll stop and we'll do 2 or 3 minutes of ads, and our sponsors know that we do our ads in a hurry. So
testimonials.
That's exactly what they are, because we know all these people. But it is a real tribute to them that they provide this forum, which is why when we say, hey, give us a call, we're kind of doing that on behalf of the VCS companies and Allen's, White Trash Services. We're trying to get you to call because we're trying to stir a conversation up in Victoria.
See, Tyler's in. Bob Constantine, good morning.
Steve, don't call. Don't call, Steve.
Don't call.
That's a guy that's fired up about that Aggie football team. They found him there in his Aggie Corps uniform, blouse, not buttoned fully.
Well,
won't go over the
yeah.
senior boots, one on, one off, a dip cup turned over on the carpet. Steve Tyler dead at 57.
They beat LSU. That was all he needed
Had
to see.
a saber in his hand. Yes.
He doesn't want the disappointment of them being 5th in the 14 playoff.
Oh, now BJ is kind of like, she's the interviewer. Now that you had it, what insight did you share?
You should have showed right up this morning.
BJ, I'll tell you the insight that I had, it hasn't changed anything for me. I have said all along, if you're old, sick, or fat, you're going to have a worse outcome with COVID than if you're not.
And that's why you had it worse than I did.
That's why I had it worse than Ash, but why I was nowhere near death. I was never worried about going to the hospital.
200,000 daily cases in this country now.
Yeah.
90,000 people in hospitals with COVID. I mean, here's the thing with that stat. Is that real? I know why they say that. They wanted to play fear on people who have no idea what 90,000 really means.
Right.
Right? But where's the context when they deliver that headline? 90,000 people hospitalized with COVID. We're a country of 332 million people.
There's 500 hospital beds in this town alone.
Yeah.
You take 180 towns this size, of which there are, and there's all your hospital beds.
Easily.
That's not even touching Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, LA. Not even touching their hospital beds. It is what it is.
And I mean, the weird thing with this one is it's not like the flu where everybody gets the same symptoms. You fever, tired, no energy, body aches, no appetite.
Right.
You know
what? If
violently ill.
Elvis could have had the COVID, he'd still be here.
Right.
Caleb Shaw says he's just here for the baseball. Caleb had a birthday this weekend. He's like 30.
Yeah.
His
clock's going back.
Sure. He sleeps in a cryogenic chamber coated with vitamin E.
Stu Tyler's at 57 was a few years back. In December, disappointment. In January, hope for next season are all part of being an Aggie.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell you what, I think the Aggies...
It might linger a little longer. That December disappointment will linger into January this year, I think.
Yes. I mean, if you beat Auburn, the announcer the other night I thought was a little bit difficult. I was listening to the game as an Aggie fan. And he said, well, the Aggies need to win this game convincingly.
Yeah.
And, well, they did. They beat the last year's national champ by 20. What do you want? Last year, it took them 7 overtimes to lose. They won by 20.
Because they already lost Alabama, right? Wasn't that the point? And Alabama clown stomped Auburn earlier in the day on Saturday. So right. I think that's probably why.
Exactly. Yeah. If the Aggies get by Auburn, things get interesting. But I did have a friend say who doesn't have a dog in the fight, said, objectively, I don't feel like I'm watching the number 5 team in the country. There is a large drop-off. Although we don't know much about Ohio State. They've only played like 4 games. And they've got to play a couple more just to be eligible. But Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and even Notre Dame are playing at a different level than everybody else. Now, are the Aggies the best of the rest? Maybe so. And
but when Coastal Carolina is ranked 20th, I mean, it's an upside down year because of COVID.
Absolutely.
Oregon loses to Oregon State Saturday night. That was a fun game to watch. Oregon State, I thought, probably should have taken the points at a field goal late in the game. They decided to try to go for it, turned it over deep in Oregon territory, got the ball back, then went down the field and scored the winning touchdown with 36 seconds left.
Do we get to send BJ an invoice for that?
Yeah.
Back it off. We'll let her have it.
Oh, yeah.
She's awesome.
Well, Cyber Monday, folks, and here they're starting already. I don't know where this text came from. Want to drop 39 pounds inside 26 days? Recommended by Shark Tank Judges. Text now.
I got one. Need a snuggle buddy? This inflatable Sheila is what?
Must be from Australia, right?
Why am I getting that?
I don't know.
I think I just saw the Hall of Famer come walking in.
Bob Constantine asks, if Joe Biden doesn't get to be president, does he have to pay the GSA back all that money?
Of course not.
I saw a pretty funny meme over the weekend. Unicorns, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the office of president-elect. 4 things that don't exist.
Exactly. It is funny how the media does what the media does. And people, this is a briefing on COVID from the office of the president-elect. No, it's not a briefing. President's brief. This is an opinion statement by a guy who may become president. But he's not president.
Not yet. But I've said it often. The left deflects and they accuse the right of doing what they themselves are guilty of doing. And now you look back 4 years prior and all the collusion, all the stories of meddling with social media by the Russians. All the collusion was media and tech. It wasn't the Russians. Yeah, the Russians might have been buying fake ads on Facebook or whatever. It certainly didn't influence the election. But if you really think about it, the real collusion and the meddling and interference in our election was media and their blatant what's the word I'm looking for? They're biased for Joe Biden and how every Joe Biden story was a positive Joe Biden story and every Donald Trump story was a negative Donald Trump story.
But we ignore Hunter. We ignore Ukraine. We ignore,
China.
We ignore the fact that Kamala was a 1% vote person. You really think Joe Biden got 80 million votes because he picked Kamala Harris, who nobody wanted to be president, as vice president?
No.
I don't.
I mean, just on the surface, he outvoted Barack Obama, the most popular Democrat president ever.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Steve Tyler says, hey, with COVID, there's no out-of-conference schedule. You can't determine who's got the best schedule. Tell you what they ought to do this year is they ought to expand the playoffs to 16 teams. Take the top 16, 16 versus 1.
Baby steps. You got to go 8. You can't go from 4 to 16.
Well, I'm just saying that, hey, we didn't have a great chance. What would that be, 4 more games?
Yeah.
3 more games. Why can't you do it? You can do anything you want. It's all about money.
You look at the tech censorship, too. There's all your collusion, just to wrap up my point.
Oh, okay. We need to BJ says we need to pray that Sidney Powell doesn't get COVID.
Yeah, that one.
She's a pretty tough woman.
Yeah. And I get it. She doesn't want to tip her hand and let all the, doesn't want to let out all the evidence until they're in court. But it does make you wonder if they have any evidence.
One thing that Donald Trump said the other day that I thought was interesting, I had heard it, but I hadn't heard it directly from the president. He said, folks, there have been lots of lawsuits that have been thrown out. These were not lawsuits filed by the presidency. These were lawsuits filed by people, by individuals, many of whom saw egregious actions during the polling process and said, I'm going to bring this to I'm going to make the courts aware of this. That, hey, I saw somebody bring a bag of ballots in, whatever, blah, 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 whatever the deal was. And then the courts end up throwing that out. He goes, those are not our lawsuits. He goes, our lawsuits are going to deal with facts. And I don't know what's going to happen physically or, in reality, Ash, if we end up in a situation where the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court turns around and says, you know what, folks, Donald Trump is still the president and Donald Trump won this election, the media has trained so many people, well, it's all stacked. It's all stacked with right-wingers. The next thing you know, we could have anarchy again.
I don't know if the Supreme Court can actually state that. I think their actions could then take it to the House of Representatives, right?
I do not know. I don't know how that works. If it goes to the House, then Trump wins.
But aren't they just, I kind of get what you're sensing, or I sense where you're going with this is they're setting it up for a revolt if things don't go the way they're hoping.
Right. See, and then you're going to end up, and this is something we talk about, and be ready, Facebook may blip us out here, but this is something we've talked about, and just to wrap everything up on a super positive note, is when it happens, when the trigger is, or when the switch is flipped and the right decides, I'm tired of the looting, tired of the rioting, I'm tired of the chaos, and the defund the police group becomes the hunted, the police aren't going to be there to investigate every time some ne'er-do-well leftist gets shot. That's what nobody's got figured out yet. Oh, well, we were understaffed, so we didn't see that guy in the red cap with the AR-15 shoot the guy.
Defund the police. But who's the first one to call the police when you have 7 people at your Thanksgiving dinner instead of the 6 that are allowed?
The leftists. Yeah, folks, you live in a country now where they want to tell you how many people to have for Thanksgiving, when you can and can't travel, and what kind of vaccine you've got to have before you can get on the airplane. This is not the America that your granddad fought for in World War II. It is not. And if we don't find a way to retake our country and preserve our civil liberties, we will be Canada, something like that.
Venezuela. Huge fire that destroyed all their voting machines, all their, what's the name of that one?
They kept them all in the same place?
Yeah.
Didn't they learn anything from Pearl Harbor?
I guess not. Smartmatic or whatever, like 48,000 voting machines and even some ballots got destroyed.
So I give a special love here to James Kern. James, I'm sorry, I owe you a phone call. He called and left a message the other day, just a general. I think he called me Ash. Hey Ash, just want to make sure you're feeling better. No, I appreciate it, buddy. Things are better. And see, Bob Constantine says police need to walk away from those kinds of calls. I believe you'll see it happen. Speaking of police, Brother Gary is in the house out there with the Hall of Famer. I guarantee you somewhere Gary Moses has an assemblage of badges that he's allowed to flash at any moment. Like if he's running late to a quinceañera, then Gary can just go.
He never runs late to
special envoy to the now to the federal marshal. Got his T. Michael badge. But today, new police chief Arredondo being instilled, if you will, at 4:00. Brother G says 4:00 at the community center. And knowing Victoria, we'll pull out all the stops. We'll have 2 containers of HEB cookies. If you'd like to go by and watch the gentleman be, I'll never forget.
They'll be in the shape of police badges.
Never forget my embarrassment when I went down. They were interviewing city managers, and they had that really nice lady, and they had the other guy, and then of course they had the eventual winner that we like, Jesus Garza. And I go down there, and they've got, it's in the community center. They even pushed back one of the partitions to handle the crowd. And over in the corner, there was a round table with a tablecloth on it. There were 2 little, there they are, HEB low-budget cookies. I was like, woohoo, we're trying to bring somebody in to make Victoria beautiful. Maybe we can't even get a fruit tray. Can't even get a cheese ball. We got 2. This is pre-COVID, too. Now, people in there with both hands. And there were nothing there but like a thing of oatmeal raisin cookies and a thing of M&M cookies. And that's it.
That was
Wasn't no punch, nothing. I thought this
And
is
you know what was left when it was all said and done?
nothing. They
The
ate it
oatmeal
all.
raisin cookies.
Just what a classless dump. Hopefully, Jesus Garza has upgraded our game.
Ryan Hoppy says, glad we're back.
We're back and we've got to
Mornings were screwed
go.
up without us, so we're going to get out of here.
We love you guys. Have a great day. We'll be back on the air mañana.
Bye,
Stay
folks.
tuned. Ralph Salazar, the Hall of Famer himself. And then, of course,